Good morning, happy Tuesday. Yesterday we touched on an overview of products, different types of mortgages and products that we offer, depending on credit score, where you're buying, how much you're putting down, size of down payment, and so on and so forth. Today I want to dive in a little bit more on particular products. Let's start off with FHA. And I do have my notes here, so if you see me looking to the side, I just am checking in with those to make sure I give you a more broad overview. There are other pros and cons to an FHA, but these are some of the major ones. Most importantly, guidelines have more lenient credit requirements than conventional mortgages do, meaning if your score is a little bit lower, and that could be just simply because you don't have a long track record of established credit, it's an option that we can look at to possibly go ahead and get you financing. Rates typically are very competitive. Sometimes you can get a better rate on an FHA than you can conventional. A lot of that has to do with what the market's doing though too. Sellers are allowed to make large contributions. So there's what's known as seller credits, where you can ask the seller to pay X amount of the buyer's closing costs. With FHA, this is 6% of the sale price. So it can be a benefit there. Again, if you don't have the down payment and closing costs saved up, you still have the possibility of getting into the home. They also allow you to qualify for mortgages relatively soon after bankruptcy. So for example, if you have a bankruptcy on your credit report, it's usually 7 years. With FHA, it allows for 2 years after a discharge of a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, and then 1 year on a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Let's touch on some of the cons. For starters, there are limits on how much you can borrow with an FHA mortgage. All different products have limits. FHA is lower than a lot of the conventional products. You also have to pay for FHA mortgage insurance. So this will increase your overall cost compared to other home loans. There's a mandatory upfront premium of 1.75% on the loan amount. Now, this is usually tacked on to the loan. You don't have to come with that up front, but it's just increasing the amount of the loan and possibly decreasing the amount of house you can buy. Also, the annual premium is paid as part of your monthly payments, and this annual premium may be higher or lower than what you have to pay on other mortgage products. You need to carry that mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. Typically on a conventional product, after you reach 80%, you can request that it be removed from your loan. Whereas with an FHA loan, that mortgage insurance monthly premium is on there for the life of the loan if you don't put down at least 10%, which is typical. Usually FHA is an option where we have the lower down payment of 3.5%. So normally you're not seeing 10% put down on an FHA loan. They do have stricter property eligibility requirements. Simplest way I can put it, the house can look like it's still going back to the 1970s, but it's got to be in good condition. You can have the shade carpeting and the crazy colors and the yellow and green refrigerators and stoves, but it has to be livable. A few things that come to mind: peeling paint, broken windows. That stuff has to be taken care of, and by no means can there be any signs of mold, because that will just open up a whole other array of issues. As far as FHA loans, you cannot buy investment property unless it's going to be your primary residence. There is an option there that if you were to buy investment property, rental property, as long as you are going to occupy one of those units as your primary residence, then we can do it. Otherwise, investment loans are out. Same thing goes with second home purchases. Cannot be done with FHA. It does have to be a primary residence for that borrower. So that's just to give you a little bit broader view of FHA loans. Like I always say, every product that we offer has its purpose for the borrower that we're putting into it. You want to make sure you're working with a lender that is looking at all those options, not just saying you fit into this box, let's put you here. So again, like I always say, any questions, give me a call, message, shoot me an email. We'd love to sit down and talk to you about the different options. Michael Love, First Mid Bank and Trust, NMLS number 1764829. Everybody have a great Tuesday.